And the reason I'm looking at the dollar CAD is because I was telling you that the the Canadian is technically weak. Technically, the Canadian is one of the weakest currencies, and yet when you see this happening, this means that based upon this chart, the dollar is the weakest. And remember, when we see something on the chart like this, that it is a no-brainer that the trade is short, the fact is we are now too late, or we missed that short trade, and now we need to be looking for a buy. So as far as the short trade would go for the dollar CAD, this is a big range day. I do not like the close. This thing has traded about 200 basis points. We have a small structure over here at 101, 1186, 10166, and we did close below it, and we closed the week at 10097. So we are actually about I don't know how many pips we're below it, but in this case, this is a big range day. We have capitulated to the downside, and therefore, if the move is to the downside, then I need to see absolute capitulation. I need it to be below the 10106 and not and I want it to stay below that. I do not want it to get above the 10106. Right now we're trading at par 09, so basically the difference between them is about 15 or 16 pips, which is not which tells me that I don't have my capitulation. If you look at the intraday chart, it is also quite telling. Why? This here we have a structure point at the 101.66. On the intraday we have a significant point or a significant low at 101.63. So 66, 63 is one and the same. And when we broke it over here, we sold off quite fast. You can see the capitulation that we had here. It stopped at nearly at par. It came back above to test the 101.63, and then we sold off. So what this says to me and to you guys is that the 101.63 is quite a significant level, but the only thing that is cautioning me is that this thing closed at the low, and we should have had a big capitulation. So with that, we're going to trade it this way. I will buy it only if it gets above the 101.60, because that's my long point and my structure point. So my buying point is going to be 101, and that is also my structural long point. And in this case, it is also going to be our stop. On the short side, I will take it only if it trades below the low of the day, which is 109, 1009. So I would give it a little bit of a breathing room, so I'm going to short it at 10080. I'm just going to use the 80-20 rule. I'm going to take it below the 80. Okay, and if I short it below the 80, I want to have my stop at the 101 101.06. I don't want it to get back above, so the 101.06 is going to be my long stop and my short stop. So I'm risking about 35 pips on this trade. Now I'm going to find my structure short to the downside. The only structure short that I can have is basically this is the one that looks slightly decent, which is the 99.29. So my structure short to the downside is the 99.29. Right? So what we're going to do, we are going, if it gets above the 101.66, we're going to stop buying it. Okay? Because this means that the trend to the upside in the dollar is going to resume. You can see that this is the trend in the US dollar. It was trading in July around 94. It moved about 25% from this up till October. So that is my trend. I'm looking for it to continue to the upside. This move here is basically a gift. If it stays below the 101.66, I'm going to short the dollar. I don't care. But if it gets above the 101.66, this means that the upward trend is going to resume, and I'm going to start buying it. Okay? And I'm only going to sell it if it continues to capitulate to the downside. So my selling point is we are going to be buying the CAD above 101.66. It is my long point, my structure long, and my stop. On the short side, I'm going to go short below 1008, which is taking the low of yesterday, and I'm going to my next structure short is going to be the 99.29. So I have about 100 pips until the next structure, and I'm going to use the 101.66 as my stop for either the long or the short. Okay, that is the dollar CAD.